our children want to hear it. I look at my mother and my grandmothers, and they're not, those are the people on TV, but I'm talking about the women I see day to day who work hard, who, I'm sitting here now and I'm like, this was the police chief? I was like, that right there, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I beam at that because there's so many strokes of strength and wisdom that I get to see that look like me. And that's a magical feeling to dwell in. And so in this moment in time, I just encourage our young women who are, beautiful and going to law school and they're going to make changes, that we create rooms of support. My job right now is to support. And then also, I do a lot of volunteer work with senior citizens. Let's not forget, we have the road that we're paving, but the road that was paved for us. And, I hope to get older. And, I take a lot of time with seniors, and when I look at things like Social Security and those things that are being cut that can affect, a time in our life that should be golden, that will affect us greatly. And, education and our babies, it's important that as women we know that, we are a big answer to that change that will shift everything. So vote, ladies. I know we're gonna vote.
So Regina, you made a very important point about voice and finding your voice. And this film explores Star finding her voice and using her voice, which her father, and we saw in the clip where Maverick says, use your power. Use your weapon, use your power, which is the voice. So that's really pivotal. And I'd love to just explore and have you all just comment on the importance of finding voice and then using that voice to propel us forward, to challenge us. I think that's extremely pivotal, and I think Angie Thomas does such a remarkable job in really exploring that in a real way and making it very clear that there's a process in finding your voice, and then there's also a process in having the courage to use your voice.
I mean, I want to point out that the voice was how it was cultivated. It was cultivated at home. It was cultivated, with her family and with her, brothers and sisters. With the brothers. I think that there's just beauty in that, and it shows how important the familial structure is, and just the family is, both at home and extended, and the community, and just realizing where she comes from is rich. You know what I mean, and that the people around her are rich and beautiful, and I think it takes a while. It took a while for her to really realize that, this is where I come from. These people matter. They mean something, and I need to use their energy to propel me forward. But it all started at home.
Yeah, I actually, as you were saying, I was thinking, it made me think back to when I first started rapping, and I went to the studio to record my demo, and we went with some girls we knew, and they was like, man, your voice too high, so I tried to rap in a deep voice, right? And it sounded weak as hell, really. And I eventually was like, I just had to discover what my voice was, and it went through me not listening to what everybody actually was saying, and I eventually got to a place where I was like, it just took work. I would work on it in the mirror, work on it hearing myself, working on it around my friends, and then it became something that was natural for me, and it just was organic, but it developed through the ups and downs and listening to other people and following at certain times. And I think that's, for me, a good comparison to how I've been finding my voice in my life too, because sometimes, even in all truth, I know we're talking about the movie and how great the parents are, but sometimes, your parents may tell you to do something out of love, but it may not be your path or your voice. Because my mother is an incredible human being, and she's the reason I'm up here. But when it was first time for me to leave FAMU and go start rapping, she was like, shut up, fam. We got one rapper in here. We represent two. The three. All right. Oh, four. I'm on two. But when I told her I was leaving the school, she was like, "You tripping? Like, what are you talking about? No, you ain't leaving. That ain't happening." And I just had to fight for it. But that was my voice. She didn't even realize it as much as she, wanted me to succeed, and I was doing well in school too. I found something that I really was passionate about, and your voice is your voice. That's the thing that God has given you. It's almost like nobody else can determine it. We can all plant. She planted seeds. Lisa and Maverick in the story The Hate You Give, they plant the seeds and get a foundation. But it all just takes the person to go through the journey, and then you understand what your voice is. That's how I've discovered my voice.
I was gonna say, I used to, it's interesting now hearing it when I first started. There are many voices that we have, but from a professional point of view, I remember starting off in comedy and thinking, oh, that's awful. Because I was like, no one takes comedy serious. Like, I'm not gonna be, like, I gotta do something else. And I remember thinking, looking at my friends who did dramas and being like, oh, my career isn't as valid. And it wasn't until somebody had cancer and told me they quoted some curse words I said, which was embarrassing, but they said that cheered them up every day, that I could see the value. And so even though we may not bring what the collective deems as most important, we don't know how what we do touches someone. And if what you do brings you joy, and then it's able to affect someone in a way that you may not always be able to see every moment, you have to trust that when those doors are opening, then you are in your path. And when you're in your path, you get to own it. And when you own that, you get to create a voice that, see, the music is coming. My shit is so good. Soundtrack. And then from there, other things will blossom, and you don't know what it is. I mean, sometimes it's the mystery, and your voice kind of, it's going along with the journey of your life, and so your voice may, it's like I used to listen to people and be like, I need to be this, and then I was like, but that's not really me. Like, I can't help but tell a joke. So instead of trying to coach that portion of myself, I've learned to incorporate it and embrace it. And then, there are people who, they respond to that. And that's what's so great. We got billions of people, and we have voices, and they all reverberate, and they all affect everyone. So it's just kind of about applauding and supporting the various voices, the beautiful chorus that we are.
In the film, we're talking about voice and finding your voice, and